Stephen King's It the miniseries is directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and tells a story about a group of kids that have been terrorized by an evil clown. And years later, that clown comes back to the town of Derry to try and traumatize them and kill them once and for all. I remember growing up with this film back when I was very young. I remember watching a music video that someone made that compiled clips of Pet Sematary and this. And This Is Halloween cover by Marilyn Manson, and that was like my first real introduction to Pennywise. And since then, I've been infatuated with this film. I've been a big fan, and I've been watching it every Halloween, and I've always had a good time with it. And then in my adult years, as I've grown up, I still come to enjoy the film, but I've come to also notice quite a bit of problems too. But none of it has to do mostly with the first act though. The first act of the film, or at least the first half of the movie, where we focus on the kids, them growing up, their lives as they come together, as they get to know each other, going through their experiences with Pennywise, and how that strengthens their bonds as friends, and how they eventually muster up the courage to try and go up against their bully at school and the clown himself. All of that, very entertaining. Is it cliched at times? Is the acting a bit hokey from some of the bully characters? Yeah, but the kids themselves all have really good chemistry with one another, and Tim Curry's Pennywise worked well off each of the kids. His performance is really unsettling. He's not only very funny and looks like an actual clown, but he also has a dark, sinister side to him that he's able to let out loose, and because of that, his character is a bit unpredictable in nature, and you are not sure when he is going to cut loose, at least if you are a newcomer. Tim Curry's Pennywise is excellent. It is unsettling, it's creepy in all the right ways, while still feeling like an actual clown who's trying to lure you in. And the famous Georgie scene where he grabs his arm and eats it off, I think that was for the most part handled well enough for something that's supposed to be shown on TV at the time as a miniseries. All that is well and good. I really liked it. Once we transition to them as adults, it's not like awful to me, but it's not as interesting. As adults, we already know that they're all trying to go up against Pennywise, and that they're trying to find all the weapons and muster up the courage once again to try and go up against him. And Pennywise is an unnatural being. He is someone that is otherworldly. He can transform into your deepest fears in order to scare you, because that's how he gets the best taste out of you. The more you're scared, the better you taste to Pennywise. There are just times where also Pennywise just fucks around just for the sake of it, and you can tell that Tim Curry is just having a ball on screen. But sometimes it's just that, it's just purposeless. He's just joking around, just mocking the characters. And that can be really fun at times, but sometimes it can be a bit grating and just feel like filler. Especially when we have to focus a lot on these adult characters who are not as interesting as they were as kids. When they were kids, it feels a lot more interesting because the world doesn't really believe them. Now they already know everything about Pennywise, and they're just trying to do everything that they know of to try and get Pennywise killed and done with. And there isn't that sense of tension. They try to add in a bit of tension when bringing in Bill's wife into the mix, but she just feels like needless filler to add in more stakes just for the sake of it. It just felt artificial at times. But still, the cast do a pretty fine enough job, despite not all of them being casted well as the parts as their kid. Some of them are casted fine enough, but some of them just feel pretty out of place. More specifically, Richie. I mean, the actor doesn't really look that much the part, and the way he gets the character down jokingly at times can work, but at times can sometimes feel a little bit weird. And the ending goes pretty crazy. At times it is really good. I really like the scene where Bill had to confront a vision of his brother down in the sewers and had to convince himself that it was Pennywise that killed Georgie and not him, because throughout the film he blamed himself for letting Georgie go off by himself, but he has to come to terms about what really happened and move forward to try and stop Pennywise from killing any more kids. I really like that scene. I think it worked well enough, and I think it was an emotionally resonant one to end Bill's character pretty well and have his character arc come full circle. And then we get to the spider reveal. That's when the movie just goes crazy out of nowhere. It did not work. The stop motion effects aren't really that good and they look pretty dated. The practical animatronics are fine, but you could tell that could be very stiff at times and the movement is very limited. The set design is all really good, but this whole thing just feels out of nowhere. It didn't get built up that well, the spider reveal, and it just felt way too silly. The show just got to a point where it just felt like it was self-parody. All in all, this goes to say that I am very mixed on the second half of Stephen King's It. But the first half I always enjoyed. The characters there were really compelling. I liked their growth and how they try to go up against Pennywise as they grow up, and seeing the characters flash back as we see how their lives were at the time. Beverly is a really compelling character. I really liked her arc as well, trying to move away from her abusive father in relationships and trying to move forward with a happy life somehow with these kids that she just met during this time. I think that was all really compelling. All that stuff with the kids, really good. Adults, very much a mixed bag. Didn't hate it, but could have been so much better. But all in all, I still say I would recommend it. Stephen King. But all in all, I can still say I would recommend Stephen King's It, and I'm gonna give it a B-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.